for. If you're on your way to work or you're not at home, you can just join us via your phone, some digital platforms like Facebook and YouTube. Just search for Clock TV and you can join in the conversation online. So text a friend, call a friend to join us here on the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. Now, we bring to you the most informative, educative, and entertaining segments like business, sports, lifestyle, entertainment, in-depth discussions, motivational quotes to give you a well-rounded experience and sets the tone for your day. Now, next is our motivational quote of the day, and Nanaya Asare, who's my co-host here with me, will be leading us with the motivational quotes. Let's prepare our hearts to be inspired this week. It is time for our motivational quote of the day, and of course, as we are in the election season, especially a few days to our elections, definitely it's going to be something around that. And I'm not alone as usual. I'm doing this with two of my co-hosts in the person of Mr. Nanaya Asare and Mr. Clement Yabankwe. So, how are we doing this morning?
Yeah, we're so amazing.
It's nice to have two men here that I can bully once again. Yes, how are you now?
I mean, I feel very invincible this morning, especially after the breakfast that I've been given.
Oh wow!
I've actually had a very good breakfast. So yeah, I can't wait. I'm just charged up to the day. So,
that's nice. I hope we can actually imbibe this energy from Nanaya. So, our motivational quotes, what do you have for us this morning?
Yes, so you just mentioned it, and rightly you said it's something about elections. And then this is actually saying that your vote is your power. If you don't use, others will use it against you. The quote again is, your vote is your power. If you don't use it, others will use it against you. Yes, this is widely attributed to Nelson Mandela, but there is no evidence actually that he made this particular statement that is attributed to him because of the role and his advocacy for democracy, especially looking at the transition that South Africa had from the apartheid system to the democracy which they practice now. So this is actually what it's saying, is your power. If you don't use it, others will use it against you. I want to know your thoughts on this particular one. So
I also did a little reading, and there was a little expansion on it, and it says here, your vote is your power, a tool of influence and a voice for your beliefs. By choosing not to use it, you allow others to decide your future, often in ways that may not align with your values. Inaction is not neutrality. That is something that's very, very significant statement. It stood out to me because a lot of us tend to say, oh, I'm neutral, so I won't vote. But inaction is not neutrality. You can vote without having any political affiliations.
So you mentioned two things on there.
So finish it then so that we can go on. It is an open door for others to shape the world in their favor. Exercise your power, take a stand, and let your voice be heard. Yes, so that's where it's at. And one of the this is almost sounding like going into the poll watch, but you know how some constituencies are known to be swingers, they vote based on performance. So these people, we can even term them as neutral, where they are voting not because of affiliations, but because of the performance of their representative or their MP. And that is something that I think we need to actually take up as Ghanaian people in a political world. That the fact that you don't like one party or does not mean that you should sit back and then watch people or sycophant, loyalists vote for who they want to come and shape your life. So once you look at, that's why they have these manifestos, and you look at who is seemingly whose manifesto resounds with your values or aligns with yours, then you can, vote and give them a chance to come and prove or justify whatever it is. If you don't do well, you vote them out.
Exactly. So my short contribution to this. So I would take voting from a different, not only in the aspect of elections.
Okay.
Though we are in the election regime. I want viewers to understand that voting is not only in terms of elections. In your personal life, you do vote. Because in decision making, you choose one over the other. So the one you choose means that it aligns with your belief. That is why you choose that one. So you've indirectly voted for that very thing. When it comes to the world of business, let's get there in terms of voting. So in the world of business, we have types of different brand, but you choose A over B because you believe the brand of A. You believe the ideology, you believe the person who manufactured the A. So you voted for A. So people have the perception that, or they think that I'm not going to vote on the day of election, but you've already voted in so many aspects of your life. So why don't you exercise this constitutional right that we have? And we should understand that it's not only about a right, but it's our duty. It is our responsibility. As you said, if you decide not to vote, thinking for one or two reasons you are so special than the other, by the time you realize, sorry to say, there's a quote that the wise thinks not to vote, but the fool's one will vote to vote a fool's president. At the end of the day, we all will be affected. So we want viewers to understand that yesterday was special voting. A lot of people went out there. As much I was on grounds yesterday, the turnout was so massive. And we want to see the same turnout coming 7th December. People should go out there in their numbers. Vote based on the ideology of that political party or who the presidential candidate, your parliamentary candidate, and don't think that you are voting to, people have the perception that they are voting to give someone's father a work to do. So because of that, why don't they stay home and do whatever I'm supposed to do?
That's true.
So that is what I just want to add up.
Rightly so. Just because you mentioned in the world of business, let's also add a little bit.
I know sports.
Voting, no, I'm actually going to sort of reiterate what you were saying. Voting in sense of the world of business or in economics, and we also seen in the case of opportunity cost, what you're actually foregoing for this particular one. But then what I want to also say is that this quote, actually, your vote is your power. If you don't use it, then others will use it against you. It underscores the power of voting in shaping a society. Voting is not just a right, just as he said, it's a responsibility. And American President Winston Churchill, former American president, he also made a statement. He says that the future belongs to those who vote for it. So he's also underscoring the importance of participation in the election process in the shaping of our future. So if you do not vote to select a leader that you think is right to shape the future, others will vote, and then maybe the trajectory of the future that you want to be on, the ideologies that you believe in will not be represented when that vote actually comes to pass. And then once again, the last one that I want to actually say is one from James Baldwin, which is quite resonating. He says that when we don't vote, we endorse the system that we complain about. So this is what he's saying, that if you do not vote, you endorse the system you are complaining about. It's like this famous quote that also says that evil thrives because the good people sit down and do nothing. So that's what I have to say on the motivational quote of it.
Well, I remember with the Nathan Quao Excellence Awards, when Professor Jampo was also giving his speech, he reminded us of, me of back in school when we were learning the intro into politics, and it says man is a political animal. So literally every aspect of your life has politics, going on, has some sort of voting. And like you said, even with decision making, and in honor of Mimi, I would say, even in the Bible, sometimes when they have a king that is not the best, you see that they cry unto God, because I remember there's a verse that says that the cries of the people. Let me help you, since Mimi is not here. So in the Bible, in the aspect of disciples, you see, one of the disciples was out, Judas is out, so they need to replace him. Even that time, they voted for somebody. They voted, And even I was going to even talk about how I was going to talk about how sometimes even the leaders, if they are not, being good leaders, the people take some sort of action to get the leader out. And I was making the reference to the verse that says that the cries of the people have been heard, and then it will reflect on the leaders' behavior.
I think you're turning this into Sunday service. It's
in honor of Mimi. So if Mimi is watching, yes, we still remember you here, and get well soon. So thank you so much for your submissions on this quote, and I hope that we have motivated at least 15 people who are deciding not to vote this year, please go out and vote. Some people even say sit name and then vote. So look at all the things around you, look at the manifestos. There's still time to access such information and then make a decision. Next is our online and news review with very own men. We will be right back.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.
Hello Ghana, I am Yayira Awuno and we are just weeks away from the 2024 general elections. This is a pivotal moment for our nation, and here at Clog TV, we are committed to bringing you the most comprehensive coverage.
As we gear up for this election, our team is working tirelessly to ensure you have all the information you need to make informed decisions. From candidates' profile to policy discussions, we got you covered.
We are not just reporting the news to you, we are creating a platform for a dialogue. Our analysts will break down the issues that matter most to you, ensuring you understand the stakes of this election.
As we analyze the political landscape, it is crucial to understand the implication of each party's policies. Clog TV will provide you with in-depth analysis to help you navigate these choices.
Join us on Poll Watch on Clog TV as we dive deeper into the policies of the candidates and their potential impact on our society. We shall also explore voter trends, territorial preferences, and give you expert insights to make an informed choice this election season. I don't know where to start with, but let's go. Let me step in the shoes of the business person and then say that IMF have actually approved, as of yesterday, the exact close of the week. So by Friday, by Friday we'll have 320 United States dollars hitting being credited to the Bank of Ghana's account. And looking at the timing of it, and looking at how we want to drag down inflation before we want to also drag down the price of the United States dollar. I think it's quite some time considering the number of days that we have to elections, because the more influx of dollars that we have, the less of its demand being the dollar rate is going to reduce. We've seen that quite significantly, especially these days. The dollar has been reducing. It's been on like a steady decline, the value of the dollar to the CD.
Okay.
So we saw that just about a month ago, it was about 17.2 Ghana cedis to $1. But then just a few days ago, I went to change some forex, and then the rate was 15.15. So it looks like it's been on a steady decline and the CD is performing very, very well at this particular time. Clement, I'm sure you give us more updates on that.
Exactly. We'll do that.
This is what is actually trending. So it was yesterday, 2nd December 2024, that the executive board of the IMF actually approved this particular one as part of its third tranche in the bailout for Ghana's economic resuscitation. So they said Ghana's economic indices are actually performing quite well. The debt restructuring has performed well so far, and that's one of the reasons why they gave us the approval for the third tranche.
It's a good news.
But considering the fact that this is our government, one of their main things a lot of people would remember them for was the fact that they said they were not going to borrow much and go to the IMF and World Bank for bailouts and things.
The stipulated bailout was $3 billion. Now they've given us 1.98, so that means we are going to borrow more. We are in, I don't want to actually go a little bit sour on this particular one, but we are in the country where we actually cut a cake for borrowing money, successfully borrowing money. So this is
you started again.
Exactly. Clement, there was a beautiful purple cake with E-Levy written on it.
No, it was green.
Green. Okay, yes. Then maybe there were two, because there was one as purple as the color of your
okay. Well, I remember the E-Levy cake was green. Yes.
Looks like you are done in E-Levy colors.
No, I beg you. I have no affiliation to E-Levy.
So, as Nana brought issue of IMF, let me just quickly bring in the business news on IMF. He says that extend IMF program, send off to come back to our old system, and we start doing our normal things we used to do. Because when IMF come, we become so restricted to certain things. So you believe that, yes, let's...
That it could also be a way for maybe the incumbent government to do some stacking up some money in case they're about to leave government. And these are all concerns that we may have, because why do we keep borrowing and borrowing? What plans do we have to pay back? And how much? I think I saw a post that every Ghanaian owes some amount of money.
This issue, we will discuss more about it on Business Set, because we are looking at what is a plan for this DDEP that the government has done. In the next 10 years, 15 years, government is supposed to repay back if that has happened in Eastern and Western region. So they need to reprint this ballot papers all over. But I was asking myself, what at all is defaced ballot paper? Let me just give this to our viewers. When you say a ballot paper is defaced, one, there is unclear markings on that very particular ballot paper. Two, overwriting or are also on it. Three, inappropriate symbols are also on it, and also when the ballot paper is torn or damaged. So these instances make a ballot paper defaced. So looking at all this situation, the most should I say wonderful or amazing, however I'll call it, situation is that this defaced ballot paper we are talking about, the party agents actually found out this situation at the printing press. So they all agreed to take it out of the total ballot paper they are going to transport to Eastern and Western. But surprisingly, when they go to Eastern, this very defaced ballot paper they agreed to take out is now part of the total ballot paper.
So I would also want to chip in a little bit before we actually continue. You know, the ballot papers are considered defaced because they were on clear markings. You know, when you're doing industrial printing, there are a lot of things that can actually happen when you're printing things industrially. They may have some ink marks. Some of them are appearing as clear as they should. You may have some lines in there due to faults on the machines. And now and it's not as though that they saw all the ballot papers that were being printed. So in as much as possible, the EC also came out to actually mention that the defaced papers that were taken out, and then most of them were destroyed, or if not all of them were destroyed in the observers. That's the party people that were observing.
I also have a question. At a printing press, printing press, right? When the final outcome, you know, the final printout comes out, isn't there anyone available who, you know, does some sort of inspection before packing it up?
Yeah, that's what I think I said earlier. According to EC, the reports, their press statement, they said that they did inspection and they realized that item was part, so they picked it out.
Yeah, but you know,
but the surprise aspect was that when they go to Eastern, the same item they picked out was part of it.
You know,
so meaning that also in their defense, they were saying that the ones that they picked out were not included in the ones that they transported.
Yes, but let's not even go that far. The printing press, a few, you know, sheets have come out. It's like there's an issue with it. Okay, why not go quickly to check the printer, the toner, all of that, and then mitigate that issue right there and then, rather than printing so many different batches.
There's a question of quality control there again in this particular one. So who are the quality control officers of the Electoral Commission, and what are they supposed to have actually done in this particular process? Who are the quality control officers printing presses which were actually given this particular contract to print the ballot papers, and what are their responsibilities in this particular one? But it is very, very, when you are printing, even if you are printing in your office, you are printing.
The EC look good.
So
and the party agents involved, you know, all these stakeholders.
Are also not looking good in this particular one. But the reason why I'm actually saying that all is not lost is because the EC has actually come out to say that they are going to vote, but then this time they are going to vote on Thursday. So they are not taking out their right to exercise their franchise to vote.
Yes, that's very true. But
the fact that the EC is actually putting this measure in place is showing that they are also there to sort of mitigate some of these risks or errors that may actually occur in the electoral process, and that's the EC must be commended for the fact that they are not saying that.
Did they give us images of you know what the defaced ballots look like, so that, you know, in case you go somewhere you see something like that?
Yeah, right. This issue you are talking about, I would say that the EC could have done more better than what they did. I want to put it in another way, because what we are talking about is cost effectiveness, and looking at what they are going to do, they are going to now reprint the whole ballot papers for Eastern, Western region. That is another cost on its own. That is another a lot of cost on the electoral process.
The defaced ones were also going to be printed again, so it's sort of the same cost implication.
So if the defaced one, assuming the defaced one, let's say it's 100 ballot papers, and you're going to reprint it again, it's not like printing a whole ballot papers for Eastern region and Western region. So look at the cost.
Are they printing the whole of the Eastern and Western region, or they are printing the defaced one?
Not the defaced. They are printing a whole Eastern region and a whole Western region.
We need the
whole argument is that
you cannot reprint ballot papers that are printed correctly. So that is something.
So now there needs to be info on how many ballot papers were defaced and how many were not defaced.
Yeah, in front of focus and be there. Abwako don choma or send when inara. So if
what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. If a particular item, let's say a food item, one gets spoiled, at the end of the day it affects all of them.
So
they will not just pick the spoiled one out and they are going to replace it. No. Others would have the perception that since Adebakon assay, it's going to affect all. That's why he says that no, they are going to reprint the whole Eastern region and Western region again. Okay. I'm talking about the cost effect. Even to a voter, the voter will know that this ballot paper is the old one, so that at the end of the day, they will not be like, this is a rejected ballot, this is going to be accepted. I don't know if you get the anger. Yes. Oh, these are the things we want the EC to make more clear.
Features, then there's
so
clarity on that.
In a situation like this, where let's say if we combine both regions, we have 100,000 people. What happens to the cost involved? Is the printing press going to be held liable for these defaced ballot papers, and then the cost that has? Are they going to reprint for us for free? To replace this?
It's not the same printing press who's printing. It's a different printing press who's handling Eastern and Western. Different printing press.
Okay, so your newspaper.
So. On my particular newspaper, are we going into the online newsprint review?
No, not the online newspaper itself. Your daily graphic business.
So I think that's the LA Galaxy Wenger. That is Joseph Pinso. He's actually won the MLS Cup, and then in his maiden season with the club, and he has actually also released a single, a song called Blessing, and then he was jamming with it, and that's what's making the headlines in the world of sports. So I don't want us to dwell more, because we'll be going into the sports segment almost immediately. So if we can actually, I think that's basically that. Apart from that, the rest are all talking about the Ayawaso West War.
Yeah, so that's what we have in my online stories here. So moving into the online stories, it's about voting, and this tension mounts in Ayawaso West Wogon as Lydia Alhassan shares food to voters. Let me add allegedly, because it's come out that she's also denying that. So here it says tensions are rising in the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency following reports that the incumbent member of parliament and New Patriotic Party candidate Lydia Alhassan was observed handing out food packs to voters during the special voting exercise. With help from her team, the MP distributed food to voters waiting in line at the Legon police station, which is one of the designated special voting centers in the constituency. Now, John Dumelo, the National Democratic Congress parliamentary candidate for the area, condemned the action, calling it illegal and a breach of the Electoral Commission's regulations. Well, distributing food to voters while they are voting, I remember, I think back in school, some part of critical thinking, we had these fallacy of appeal to emotions, fallacy of something.
The modus ponens and modus tollens. Yes.
So, in a situation like that where somebody is going to vote, they probably want to vote out this candidate, right? Now, she has come to give you no kofio. Then it sort of changes your mind and something like that. Then maybe after collecting the food, you get home, you voted for her, you get home, you're like, that kind of thing. So, aside the fact that maybe, yes, it is a breach of, the Electoral Commission's regulations, it is also not, on the moral standpoint, it is dicey, because it can also even be termed as a form of coercion. Because I think we wanted to talk about that last week, where some people were given food and things, and then one of the security men in Legon, he was videoed complaining bitterly and saying, if this is what you are coming to use to buy my vote, you won't get my vote. And
he was arrested.
Yes, a few days later, order from above, this man was picked up. And so now it's like, so him with this guy, and then the people in the special voting, where this guy is saying that I will not be bought by your supposed kindness. Now he's been picked up. What about the others who have been given these items while waiting in line? What is the guarantee that they may not also be, afraid in one way or another that as they've taken the items, if they don't vote for the person, maybe they too will be picked up.
So the picking up there, that was not because they received the items, but it was because of his conduct after he received the item. I can, as part of the MP's is to provide humanitarian services to the people in her constituency, in the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency. I'm actually saying this and sort of maybe trying to play the devil's advocate in this particular.
The devil has not sent you, Nanaya. The devil has not sent you.
Because a lot of people are.
He didn't call for advocates.
At Lydia Seyram Al Hassan and saying that